Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mark Gorman, CEO of Matrix Solutions, and welcome to our first quarter 2022 update. 2021 was actually quite a year, quite a rebound. I believe the statistics show a 23% increase in ad revenue, and the two big winners, one, social, no surprise there, but also OTT. So both social and OTT saw a 42% increase in advertising spend. And in third place, the ever present, never stopping search with a 39% increase in advertising spend. Now, here in the US, I believe the stat I saw was that television advertising spend on inventory was up 6%, which is good. But I will say that the slide and the percentage of allocated ad dollars continues. However, with the increase in OTT, it will be interesting to see, at least on the public media side, that as these companies start reporting revenues, start reporting results, to see if they were able to make up on a percentage allocation for the television loss, perhaps in their OTT and streaming services. So it will be quite interesting to see if they are starting to be able to embrace that change. Now, talking about change, we still see cord cutting happening, and as cord cutting is occurring, no surprise, the cost of streaming services is actually going up, and we are seeing a lot of the hybrid models where you can pay less for your streaming services and watch advertising. And I believe I saw this, I don't have the exact stat, but I believe they are saying that Gen Z is embracing the advertising model, which is great. And so talking about that, with the growth in OTT, we're also starting to see, as we've seen for some time now, an increase in people accessing over-the-air television via the antenna, sort of the old-fashioned rabbit ears approach. So I don't know if they look quite like rabbit ears anymore, but we are seeing people starting to come back. And the latest stat I saw, which is somewhat dated, I believe it's a year old. I looked around, I couldn't find a newer stat. So if you do have one, please email me. But I believe by the end of 2020, roughly 40% of US households at that point had reacquired antennas to access over-the-air television. And it makes sense because what we are seeing from a technology standpoint is what I like to call the rebirth of ATSC 3.0. So in the early days, ATSC 3.0 got a lot of press. There was a lot of, hey, this is going to be the future. Seemed to have died out, or really not have been talked about too much over the last few years, but we've really seen the last 6 months, last year, this really taking hold. And I know recently even Brett Jenkins was mentioning how this is a renewed focus for them. We do know across a number of our clients, they are taking this quite seriously. We do know this platform has been successful and is quite active in South Korea. And we also know that in Europe, the HBBV platform has also been taking hold. So we see the move towards OTT, the move towards over-the-air watching of live television, where the ATSC 3.0 platform is going to allow for dynamic ad insertion. Really, this is helping us as an industry embrace this idea that impressions-based selling, like you would sell digital, is on its way for real this time. Not sort of this pipe dream that we think it's going to happen, but the wheels are in motion. Even us here at Matrix, as many of you know, we are working on our sales gateway, which we will be calling Admiral. Not only is this meant to be an automated, converged experience for the sell side industry, from the identification of buyer demand all the way through towards order fulfillment, It's also a system that is going to allow our clients to transition from traditional spot sales to impressions based dynamic ad insertion type platforms. So it's really giving them a tool to help their sales organizations make that move. So this is all actually, from my perspective, great news, because we've talked about that before. This industry, the traditional industry, can be successful if it makes buying advertising easy to understand, easy to execute, and easy to measure. And that's the bad news, measurement. So as we know, there's been a lot of talk about measurement, and listen, you got to give NBC credit, right? NBC is working to see if they can help start filling that void that is growing larger and larger by, I don't want to call it the implosion of Nielsen, but really Nielsen not keeping up with traditional spot, but really not set for the future. And I believe they're partnering with iSpot. And I saw the quote by the iSpot CEO, Sean Miller. He said, "A monopoly is never good." Well, I would add to that, a monopoly is never good unless you're the company that is the monopoly. But with that said, I would argue in this case, yes, Nielsen was a monopoly, and Nielsen charged a lot and made great profits. At the same time, Nielsen provided a metric that everybody relied upon, the sell side, the buy side. There didn't have to be all these verification platforms that everybody had. We didn't have to have sell side doing their own measurement, buy side embedding technology in their advertising to ensure what they're getting is right, all these kind of things. All things that add to the expense of executing advertising. And so I am concerned that as we start leaving this world of Nielsen, that we're going to get a lot of walled gardens, and technologies are going to have their own systems, their own measurement, and provide their own data. And I'm looking at Roku, I'm looking at LG. And if you think this is the way to go because you think you'll win, you better hope you win. Because if you're only doing okay, everyone will drop your platform. It's just how it is. So it would really benefit not only the underlying technology, but also the industry as a whole to have a standard metric system that we can all abide by, because then we can compete on other areas. And there's not going to be this added level of cost that's going to be needed by intermediate technologies to decipher all the measurements from all the different components. So for me, as I see this, I think this is the one area where I think it's great that we're moving away from traditional spot. We're really at this point moving to impressions-based advertising. I think it is really going to help the traditional industry compete in the land of Google, Amazon, and maybe with Facebook, depending where they go. But with that said, if measurement becomes a real roadblock, it could become quite costly for these companies, and really, in that sense, hurt their bottom lines. So with that said, I appreciate your time. Please, we here at Matrix always love talking to everybody within the industry, whether you're a client or not. Please feel free to reach out to us anytime. We, as always, appreciate your time. Take care.